the ongoing migrant unrest in Spain's north African enclave, Ceuta. Officials say that between 3,000 and 5,000 migrants remained there. It comes after about 72,000 migrants from Morocco illegally entered the area in a 24-hour period last week. Officials say at least 100 of them died in transit. Ceuta is seeking the transfer of roughly 1,100 unaccompanied minors to mainland Spain. They arrived before and during the influx and cannot be summarily deported. Here's what one young migrant said about why they wanted to go to Spain.
We want to go to Spain because we heard you have a king under whom no one is wronged. In Morocco, we suffer corruption in administration and justice, and at the level of health and education. We suffer in these 4 sectors. We want to work hard, we have young energy, and we have capacity, And we want to develop our second country and make progress, and boost your economy. This is our intention.
Let's bring in CNN's Fareed Zakaria, the host of Fareed Zakaria GPS, right here on CNN. Fareed, thank you so much for being with us. I want to make it clear to our audience that, when you think about Morocco, it really is the tale of, I think, 2 countries. I mean, I've spent time in Morocco. I've visited the Medinas and the souks and the deserts. You see the mountains. It's a beautiful country. But the side that tourists see of Morocco is really a curated side to the country. And then there's also the experience of the financial elites. I mean, we've talked, many times about, the investments in renewable energy and infrastructure and that sort of thing. But when you think about the other side to Morocco, this is a country that has a lot of inequality. Youth unemployment is about 40%. There's also rural poverty. There are a lot of reasons why young people in places like Finudek want to go to a place like Ceuta. Partly because they're attracted by the European dream, so to speak, but it's also about escaping some of the poverty that they're experiencing in their home country. One of the issues here is that even though Spain has managed to send back thousands of migrants back to Morocco, without addressing the underlying problems that have caused or made a lot of Moroccans willing to make this journey, this is a problem that might indeed continue to happen. Just give us your take on that.
Yeah, look, this is the future for Europe. As the realities that you describe persist, even in places like Morocco that, as you point out, are by some measures doing well financially, but still in economically, but still lots of inequality, lots of uneven growth. And the reality that, it's getting much, much hotter in Northern Africa. It is becoming much more unlivable, particularly hard to farm and things like that. And so people are going to try and make their way to Europe. The fundamental thing this does highlight, though, is the degree to which the whole system of immigration is busted, because I'm sure a lot of these people are going to go to Europe and claim asylum. And now asylum is meant to be for people who are in individual situations facing extreme political or religious persecution. And your interview with that guy showed, I mean, he's basically an economic migrant. He wants he wants better opportunities in Spain. God bless him for that. I can totally understand it. But that is not what the asylum system was meant to do. So, and that's one of the reasons why European countries aren't able to turn some of these people back, because they have to assess these asylum claims. So the whole system has broken down. You have more push on the side of people coming from Africa into Europe, and you don't have the tools to distinguish easily between who are the genuine asylum seekers who face political or religious persecution and who are just coming in because they are attracted to the idea of a Europe where they could work and make more money.
That's such an important point about sort of making that distinction. Talk to us about how this affects regional politics. I mean, not just in Europe, honestly, but even here in the United States. I mean, as expected, the US president did pounce on this, saying, gosh, this looked like the invasion of a country. This is an example. Guys, this is what could happen in America if Republicans don't win. Just explain to us how those with political views further to the right, both in Europe and beyond, saw those images and sort of used those images that we saw last week Friday to advance their own political messaging.
In a sense, migration and the uncontrolled migration that has happened over the last 10 or 15 years is the rocket fuel that has propelled right-wing populism around the world. If you look at the economies of countries in Europe, it's a mixed picture. There are places like in Eastern Europe that have been growing very fast. There are places like Germany that have maintained manufacturing. They've not lost their manufacturing. There are places like France that have provided very generous benefits to their workers. But in all of them, you see right-wing populism gaining ground on one issue, and that is immigration, migration, and its assimilation more broadly. So you're absolutely right. It is the issue, and of course it is the issue that propelled Donald Trump to power twice in the United States. And the form it takes politically is very simple. In general, over the last 10 years, the center-left has been unwilling to really come to grips with the reality of this problem, that you have many, many more people trying to come into the country. And as I say, many of them are really just economic migrants, and they've figured out that there is a path to not being deported if they say they're claiming asylum. So the whole asylum system has broken down. And because the establishment and the left in general have been unwilling to sort of call a spade and look this problem in the eye, people have increasingly drifted to right-wing parties, populist parties. It is, if you were to point to one single issue that has caused transformation of politics in the Western world, it would be this kind of uncontrolled migration. So you see in Spain almost like it's kind of a poster child for exactly what has happened to the politics of Europe.
If you are a 25-year-old Moroccan young man and you're not employed, you're not necessarily in school, you don't have enough money to cover living expenses, there are no real economic opportunities that are motivating you at this point in time, why would you not make this trip? Why would you not try to cross the border into Ceuta again?
Oh, I entirely agree with you. It's a perfectly rational thing for these migrants to be trying to do. And the only way that they would be deterred, the only answer to your question would be because you will be turned down, you'll be turned back, because it is very hard to make that journey, because there are real borders and real border controls, which means you are forced then to try the legal path. That has to be, to my mind, the solution to this kind of out of control migration, right? Which is all these countries take in migrants, but legally, lawfully, with a process. If you're going to simply try and do an end run around that whole thing, if these countries don't have some controls, not only will they be overwhelmed because there are hundreds and hundreds of millions of people in Africa who could make this journey, but more importantly, you will lose control of the politics of your country because people in Spain and in other parts of Europe will start voting for parties that do shut down the border, just as Donald Trump did shut down the border in the South in the United States.
Fareed Zakaria, good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for that.
Always a pleasure.